We haven't been in the room together in a minute.
I told Rachel yesterday we were talking about you guys on our date last night.
Who?
You guys?
You,
Me?
Riley, and you, Ethan. And I told her, I said, I miss them.
Oh.
I miss them. Okay? And I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I spent all last week with you. And I still miss you.
Already missed me.
Yeah. And then we haven't been together in a long time. And I kind of miss you. But
I miss you too. I miss both you guys. It's good to be back in the studio.
I'm crying.
I cried earlier, so I'm good now.
Yeah, there was a moment last week when Ross and I were recording a ridiculous video. We were at the hospital across the street.
Yeah.
And I said, Ross, we're getting paid to do this right now.
How's that video coming?
It's pretty much done. It's mainly, I haven't done the finishing touches because I've been trying to finish the catering page. You want to see it?
Yeah, let's see it.
It has old pictures on it. Oh, don't look at that. Ah!
I'm stealing.
That's my source code.
I'm going to steal your source code.
Yeah. While he's pulling that up, I mean, give us a highlight on your St. Augustine trip.
Yeah, took a little trip down to the Atlantic, St. Augustine, south of Jacksonville, oldest city on planet America. 1565 it was founded.
You just said Jacksonville.
South of Jacksonville is where St. Augustine is. In
Like
St.
there's the
Augustine.
name drop. St.
Yeah.
Augustine.
Well, I said St. Augustine.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
so sorry.
you were looking at your source code.
Yeah,
so.
you're right. All right.
Oh,
So
nice.
old pictures haven't been updated,
Right.
but we're working on
We
it.
look young and fresh.
I know.
I can't decide. Do we want to do a full width thing here? Because, like, this is the about page. It's no longer full width, and I was like, that's kind of a mood to not do full width.
I love the way that was laid out.
What?
The one you just showed
Great.
me.
All right, so we got this, and then here's your stuff.
My
Oh,
copy.
that-
I wrote that.
This is
Oh, really?
wrong right now. I've got to fix this code. I don't know what is happening.
Our favorite compliment from guests in our cafe. Man, I know this place is just a coffee shop, but there's something so special about how it feels. It's such a party.
The verbatim that happens all the time.
It's
People-
funny that that's in quotes.
Right.
Like someone's.
Well, I thought about like going on our Google reviews and like actually extracting a quote
Yeah.
because there's a lot of them.
But
that
then we'd have to pay them.
no. This is why we offer our mobile cart. This is why we offer our mobile coffee cart based in the ATL.
Ross really tried to hit some
SEO.
SEO buzzwords.
It
here.
was a little clunky. The clunkiness.
Can you tell I reworded a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The clunkiness was, sacrifice. It's a means to the end. We've been catering weddings, film sets, and corporate events with our coffee carts since 2016. You like that?
Boom.
Oh, because we do have two.
We have
technically.
two, and we've been doing it since 2016.
All right, check this out. We got the button.
Boom.
That will. I'll fix that hover issue. Okay.
Story brand.
Check this out.
Come on, son. Shee!
But then we have this.
Oh, very digestible. When we bring the Valor mobile cart,
Boom.
Valor, we
sorry.
we bring a piece of Valor culture to your event. What does this look like? Passionate, non-pretentious baristas, aka pit crew members, making excellent drinks at record speed, thoughtfully curated, simple aesthetic, dance moves, laughter, perfect high fives every time. Our coffee is ethically sourced, specialty coffee roasted in North Atlanta, SEO. Okay. The card allows us to make your favorite, blah, blah, blah. People can read it.
Yada yada yada.
Can there be one more bullet point that says one guaranteed conga line started by the pit crew?
Yes. One free conga line per booking.
Yeah. Price includes. Yeah. So we'll have to get some pictures of the new. It kind of sucks that we have like these pictures are perfect examples of what we're doing.
I mean, would you put one of them under the kind of carts idea?
Yeah.
Maybe that top
Sure.
top one is so gold. Like if that was on the bottom,
That one's gold. This one is just funny because I was so sick.
You're like, help!
I just looked dead inside.
Somebody please take me home.
Me and Ross look rail thin. Oh my goodness.
No joke.
Yeah.
This is just, we've had better days.
I have put on a ton of weight.
That tip jar.
Oh,
God, the
man.
worst tip jar ever.
We would have half the event cleaning up. We'd be like, all right, someone's digging out the cash from the tip jar.
Yep.
What were we thinking?
It looks great.
Not much, I'll tell you that.
No.
I think it was like actually really fun to put $1 in there. It's just you can't get it out.
Yeah.
It's like a piggy bank.
And I think it was tall enough to hide the scars on the EK.
Yep.
That was another purpose. Well,
I'm getting nostalgic.
anyways, that's it. And then, you got your I finally got this form to work. That was some of the hard parts of
Yeah.
it.
I mean, have you done a form to this scale before?
No. And the cool thing about it is whenever you do forms like this, a lot of time you falling asleep over there. A lot of times you have to go through your back end. Your website's back end. And our website does have a back end, but that
We
just
all do.
requires more code
Yeah.
and things that I'm not particularly good at. So I used a
Your girl?
Jenny?
no, I did this all myself.
Oh, okay.
But is her name Jenny?
Jenny Wang, yes.
That's what I thought.
Shout out to Jenny Wang for getting subscriptions working on our website.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy your
Where's she based out of?
$10,000.
We'll make it back.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
day.
I don't really know if that's how much it was, but it seems like it. And
Where's she based out of?
Michigan, maybe.
Non-disclosed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like Grand Rapids might have been the
We gotta go.
yeah. So instead of it going through the back end and then us having to log into our website to look at our form submissions, I used a library that whenever this gets filled out, it sends an email to our email address.
Which
So-
is kind of like the traditional.
Yeah,
Sort of
it's
thing.
it's as if we are just receiving an email from someone. So Riley Westbrook,
Yeah,
all you have to fill out is name and email, which is kind of funny. If we ever just received like a name and an email, we'd be like,
Like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
did you want an event? But yeah, venue address, event date, number of guests.
You should put, how much are you willing to pay? What's your number?
maximum
Good
budget.
idea. All right, 1/16/2023.
Dude, your 26th birthday.
Whoa, why is that below those?
Those are the preferred times.
Yeah, please do 12:30. My birthday.
Birthday.
All those listeners remember my birthday, okay? Thank you so much. Submit. Form submitted. We will be in touch. Do not look at my email.
Oh!
There's some really private stuff in here.
Who's
Oh.
Derek?
And then,
Nice.
sends it here.
So this is the info email.
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
The great thing about it as well is it came, so it's in the info email. The email technically came from the info email
Yep.
because you have to integrate it with one of your own things.
So we gotta get that email.
But it has all the details. But when you press reply, it replies.
Oh,
to,
come
No
on.
way.
That's tight.
That's Jenny Wang level
Yeah.
integration.
The thing is that I will be able to also easily put a form on the wholesale page now.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
For people interested. Because what was the way before that? Just to email?
Oh, I don't know if you guys saw that the subject of the email says catering inquiry, Riley Westbrook for date of the event.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You know
Good work,
exactly
Big T.
what's going on.
Thank you so much.
Good work. Well,
work.
we're excited to get this catering project online, literally,
Yeah.
guys.
No joke.
I wanted to do a little segment here. Oh, whoops. I wanted to give some shout outs and some thank yous to a few people that have been writing in. And a guy by the name of Edwin Zamora. He's starting up a coffee cart in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, DFW, but I know what DFW means.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
I'm
Me too.
cultured.
He just said DFW?
Yeah.
I don't think I would have got it.
Well, one.
Is Dallas Fort Worth also called the Tri-County area? What's that?
I think a lot of places are tri-county.
Wait,
Well-
isn't that Raleigh? Like Raleigh, Durham,
Right. Yeah.
something?
So DFW, Big T, there's 3 letters in that acronym.
Dallas, Fort Worth.
But
I know.
that doesn't necessarily
Okay.
mean. So Fort isn't a city and Worth isn't a city. It's
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth. Does that make sense? Anyways, but he just, he was saying he really resonates with our vision. He loves our overall vibes, guys, and you guys are some cool dudes. And
Wow.
he gathered all that from this program that we're on. So another guy by the name of Jake Vidine. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. He's been enjoying listening to the podcast, and he said he smashed like.
Boom.
Whoa.
And
Hey, smash like if you also want to smash like.
he's opening a bicycle trailer cart in on San Juan Island.
Oh my gosh. In Puerto?
No, I think that is it's
Juan
it's
Island.
I looked it up. I think it's in Washington,
Oh.
like real close to Vancouver.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe you could check me on that. But.
Look it up.
And then we've got Ethan Malise.
Hey, fellow Ethan.
Yep.
Respect.
Longtime listener, first time caller. This is by far the best coffee industry podcast in the market right now. Cheers. Thanks, Ethan.
Wow.
So
Hey, you're
sweet.
welcome. But
So nice. We got an old friend, Scarlett Harris. Been listening to y'all's podcast. I love it, and I was reminded of this at the Moonshine Festival. She sent one of our first events at the Moonshine Festival. She took that picture. She's been. I love hearing from the people that have been fans.
through thick
Hey,
and
smash
thin.
like if you were at the Moonshine Festival.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone was.
The more niche we can get with who's gonna smash like, it's getting a captive audience.
Hey, Ethan lost his hair this past week. Smash like equals 1 pray for Ethan's hair.
Yep.
Yeah, to come back.
Yeah.
There it is.
1 like equals 1 pray.
But,
you guys
uh,
ever seen those memes? Have we talked about this?
No.
You've talked to me about it.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if it was like started with maybe English as a second language, people making memes, but it would always be like 1 like equals 1 pray.
Right.
And then that became a meme in and of itself.
Right. Amazing. But guys, sometimes it can get a little lonely out here in podcast land, and just to hear people send all those sweet messages, it warms my heart, puts some wind in my sails.
Wow. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to a wall when I'm talking to you guys.
Well, I wouldn't
I'm
say that,
kidding. Come on.
And, we have the intro bit. We always say smash like,
But
but seriously, if you like the
but
podcast,
smash likes.
when you smash like, yes, of course smash like, of course comment, of course subscribe. But when you also share it on your Instagram story,
smash
that
share.
is how we get more listeners, how we get more money. Just
Yeah.
kidding. But to keep this podcast going, we do have to grow an audience.
And we're in a lot of debt right now. So
You ever just been in an astronomical amount of debt?
Hey, there's truth to every joke. Am I right?
And just thought, man, I have 3 microphones and a lot of debt. What do I do next?
Yeah.
You tell people to smash like, and you keep making smooth, buttery radio.
Yeah.
Radio.
Maybe we'll even throw in some more vocal effects if you smash like.
Yeah. But-
Ethan, what did you think about the vocal effect from last week?
I just got to hear it,
Yeah.
and I was really jealous. I wish that I had a vocal effect. Could you hear yourself with the vocal effect?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were just talking normal and then Riley
I could also
just do it in
add
post.
a vocal effect in post.
Yeah. But that was in that vocal effect. So I got
Pre.
That was source.
the pleasure of hearing the source.
Hey, I came up with a coffee meme while I was on bar over the weekend.
Let's hear it.
And because I can't make memes because the internet's too hard, I'm going to tell it to you. You know the Drake meme where he's like has his hand up?
Of course.
So he has his hand up to baked goods,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's doing like he likes it for pastries.
Very
Nice.
nice.
It just doesn't happen that much, but I had some people come in and be like, "What are your baked goods?" And I was like, "That really makes our food sound worse." And
You could also have like the same exact thing, but he's doing this to pastries, and then he's doing this to pastry.
I was just about to say that one.
Were you?
Yes, I really was.
how do you mean like plural?
Like people say singular. Like people just say things singular. I don't know.
Yeah,
Can I see your pastry options?
it's like
no,
it's
can I
like
see
deer.
your pastry? Like, oh, you guys have great pastry.
It's
People
like
say this. I promise. It's like,
Yo.
oh yeah, they have great croissant.
Yo,
They have
if you
great
say
cappuccino.
pastry, you know what to do. Smash like. If you say pastries, smash like
Smash like twice.
Yeah.
We can see that.
because it's plural.
Super
Right,
like it.
right. It's like deer. You don't say deers. You know, if there's 3 deer in your backyard, you say, look at all
Deer's
that deer.
already plural though.
I have 2 excellent. I'm not on TikTok. Okay. Do I have a TikTok? Yes. Have I ever scrolled through TikTok? No. Have I ever posted anything? Also, no. I want to make TikToks, comedy TikToks. Okay.
Okay.
I've got some comedy ideas. All right.
Let's hear it.
I've already told you guys one of them, but I will share it with the listeners. Someone's gonna steal this.
Because it's so good.
So
Just copyright it right now. Say copyright when you're done.
open scene. Someone, a person.
Jeff
Let's
Gordon.
Let's just say Jeff Gordon. Okay. No, Jeff Gordon would take away because of the
Michael B.
fame thing.
Jordan.
Also, no. Me, Riley.
Has to be a normal guy.
Yeah, just
Wait,
normal.
You're a celebrity.
No, I'm normal. You see, the thing about celebrities is that they're also just normal people. When you chop it all up and fry it.
Oh
in
my
a pan.
gosh, that was so profound.
So
Thank you.
I'm in a bathroom. There's an automatic sink. Okay. I'm washing my hands and I like can't get the sink to start.
We've
Like,
all been there.
you know, automatic sinks suck. Hot take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hot take.
So I'm like trying to get it to start. I'm trying to get it to start. This old dude walks up next to me. He like starts washing his hands. His sink is working. I look over. I'm like, and I just like slowly like reach my hands into his sink to like get the water, and we're like touching hands, and we look at each other, and then I just like walk out. That's it.
I think that would make you a lot of money.
That'd get you some ha-has. That's original. I've never had that thought before. And if I haven't thought it, nobody has.
Right.
Okay, that's one. The next one, you're at a fancy restaurant. Okay, you know when you're at a nicer restaurant and they between courses they come over and wipe the table.
Yeah.
Okay, you're sitting there.
Yo, smash like if you've ever been to one of those restaurants.
I have this idea because this actually happened to me, but I want to exaggerate it even more. So they come and they're wiping the table and they just like keep doing it for like over a minute. They're just like, and you're just like sitting there with your date and you're just like, because you like you don't. I hate talking when the server's there. Do you guys feel
Same,
that?
Yeah.
I was about to ask the same question. Like I just stop talking.
Yeah.
I focus on the server
Yep.
and I'm just like, thank you for
Thank you
doing
so
this.
much.
But then they're just still there. It's
They
like,
just like keep on wiping the
you.
table.
You're like,
Thank
thank
you."
you.
So that
Thank
happened to
you.
me and Michaela, and it probably went on for 30 seconds. And we were just like,
and then he gets under the.
yeah.
Oh, you wanna get? A...
It was, I think the guy might have been newer. He was a little shy. He
Yeah.
was also the host.
Oh, he's playing
It was
hard to
interesting.
get.
All that to say, I went to Spring
Whoa,
last Thursday. It
Nice.
was great.
one of your favorite restaurants. Is
Guilty.
that where it happened?
Yes. But thank you, Spring. I'm not mad. You gave me an idea for a bit for my comedy
Was
TikTok.
he a young guy?
Yeah.
Like 13, 14.
Yeah, he was like this guy was like 12. I was just like, what are you even doing here,
It's
dude?
like, dude, we can get you help. We can get you out of here. You know?
You don't have
Yeah,
to be in
so
this situation.
Spring, what are you doing hiring 12-year-olds?
Yeah, come on. What was your first jobs? How old were you?
My first job was a contracting job, but my first like actual job was at a auto parts warehouse,
Slack?
Slack Auto Parts, and I was
Not the app Slack.
no. How old? I mean, how old was I? Probably 18. I think I was 18.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They put me on this project of stickering every single shelf with like UPC codes. So I would just like walk around with barcodes and like wipe the dust off of the shelf and then put a sticker on it.
But that gave you so much experience with UPC codes that you use to this day.
Absolutely.
Like how they look.
How they feel, the adhesive properties.
Yeah.
You know.
Where the numbers go like above or below the lines.
I've memorized every UPC code.
It's amazing.
Billions of combinations.
Wow.
So yeah, that was my first job.
My first job was at Bert's Pumpkin Farm. I was 14.
That is super cute.
My mommy had to drive me.
What'd you do? Chill?
Do you guys want to guess? You want to take any guesses of what I did at the pumpkin farm?
Were you
Cashier?
I mean, maybe on breaks at that point, but not on other people's breaks. I would like fill in. But
Did you
not
get
really.
to throw the bad pumpkins away from the patch? Like
Carry pumpkins to people's cars.
A little bit of both?
No. I
Riley
listen to
Westbrook.
this. I was in charge. I ran the boiled peanut stand.
No, you got.
Wow.
Did you make them?
Yeah. I didn't make them that much, but I mainly just sold them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Is boiling
Crazy.
Is boiled peanuts as simple as it sounds?
I'm sure that there are boiled peanut connoisseurs who would say no. But
If you are, smash like.
I think for us, it was pretty simple. We didn't do any like Cajun or anything like that. It's just like,
Salt water.
yeah, you just boil peanuts in the like boiler thing, like bag of salt.
Whoa.
You're done.
Dude, boiled peanuts are awesome. Is that a southern thing?
Yes.
It might be one of my favorite southern staples.
I wonder if it originated in Louisiana because, Cajun boiled peanuts are a thing and are delicious.
They are delicious.
I would like to really get some flair with it. That'd be fun. Like do some weird.
Sumac.
Yeah. I was thinking sumac for sure.
Like a sumac boiled peanut. Well, that's a really cool first job.
You?
My first job, I was 14 and I worked at a thrift store. And I worked with adults with disabilities that were working. It was like a special program to employ adults with disabilities. And I am not an adult with disabilities. I was just a 14-year-old. So I got to hang out with them and run a thrift store. Super fun.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
I also cut lawns when I was like 10 to 12.
Didn't we all?
Oh, who didn't? But yeah, it doesn't really count. Hey, smash like if you ever had a first job. I got to cut
Yeah,
this
comment
out.
below what your first job was.
For all of our, my dad, Josh Cappuccino,
Colson, of course. Karen.
Elias.
Yes.
Oh, shout out Tetherball. I went.
How to check out.
I went to Tetherball twice. I didn't get to say anything about it to you guys yet, so this will be a first look. It's awesome. It's just one of those places where I feel like we've talked about the concept of like soul in a space of like, someone had a very like personal experience with this. Like you can just tell that that's his shop.
This is Elias in the form of a coffee shop.
Yeah, he designed it. He built it. He works it. He loves it, and he's going to take care of it. And that just like beats out $1 million build outs for me. I'm like, this is all intentional, and it's beautiful. It's personal.
Amazing.
Coffee was awesome.
What coffee did you have?
Free throw espresso, free throw drip.
How was the shot? Like what kind of style was it, recipe wise?
I think it was like 17 in. Oh, I kind of forgot. I think he said he did like 40 out or something. Sorry.
If you pulled this shot, comment below what the recipe was.
Yeah, please and thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time we've ever said that, and we know we will get
A response.
the
we'll
exact
see.
response that
That's
we're
great.
asking
He's
for.
a busy guy.
He is busy. I like his hours though, 7 to 3. So it's something
Yeah.
he can handle.
Right.
And then he does make cold brew, but he did like a Japanese iced coffee the day I was there, and it was also free throw, and it was killer. It seemed like he had some pour over options as well, but I just have sometimes I'm in the mood to order a pour over and make people work more, but sometimes I'm just like, drip, please.
Right.
And my favorite thing was watching him be awesome with other guests because he's south of Jacksonville a little bit. I'm sure it's still Jacksonville proper, but when I was there was a lot of like people that are not in specialty coffee awareness mode, and they're just trying to navigate a new space. And he was super empathetic and kind and relatable and conversational with people that maybe quote unquote didn't get it or didn't deserve it, because it's easier to chop it up with like oh yeah, I know this, I know what La Marzocco, blah blah blah, but this person's just like, I have no idea, and I'm kind of like frustrated that I'd have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
But his amount of patience and candor was outstanding.
Yeah. Great candor.
Great
Elias.
candor. How was his timbre?
Timbre, candor, countenance, consonance, constellation.
It was all,
check. Bathroom, awesome. It's got a great wallpaper.
Yeah.
It's like a wallpaper on one side, and then on the other side is a white wall with picture frames, and the wallpaper is in the picture frames. And I was like, that's awesome.
that's like makes you think.
I was like,
That is
That's
cool.
like some conceptual stuff.
Very cool.
yeah,
Very
so
mod.
big shout out if you're in America, run, don't walk to Tetherball Coffee and get yourself a good cuppa. You know what I mean?
Run, don't walk.
But yeah, that was a part of a trip I took to St. Augustine. What you're saying, it was fun. I got another good coffee. I brought a bag of Kenyan coffee back from Relampago. It's a roaster in St. Augustine, and everything there, besides them that I had, was more on the traditional, darker Italian,
Yeah.
classico vibes. But
Cool beans.
But this coffee was awesome. It was bright, fruity, super sweet. And I was like, I got to bring this back for the boys. So, get
Can't
ready.
wait to have it.
Yeah.
Did you go on any tours? I know that's a big thing in St. Augustine.
No, we didn't do the tours.
Any spooky tours?
There were spooky tours happening around us.
Did you go to the Fountain of Youth?
We stayed right across the street from it, and the something La Leche of the cross. It was like a 200-foot cross.
Whoa, that thing's crazy.
So we would turn out of the driveway, and it was just like right there. I took like a morning run and like went through all the stuff, and it's like a Catholic acre. It's called the like most holy acre in America. I was like, it's crazy. But
See the fort?
yeah, and then you just took a right. There's a couple like streets and residential areas, and then about half a mile was a big Fort Castillo. Ran around that, and it was cool. It was a cool area. It smelled pretty bad. It was hard while I'm trying to get into running more, so I'm like huffing and puffing, and you're just like,
Yeah. Like sulfur.
the sulfur, man. Yeah, you take a shower too, and it's just like your bathroom just smells like eggs. And I was like, I get it. You probably just adjust and get used to it, but I was kind of being a baby.
Yeah.
Right.
You little baby.
I'm being a little baby. Did a lot of thrifting. Got a lot of good stuff. Got my first pair of jeans in about 3 years.
Wow.
Some Kirklands. Couldn't pass up. Some Kirkland signatures.
You also scored this number right here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, what'd you get me?
Well, your thrifting style, it just doesn't come out.
You didn't find any like
outlier
stuff.
Road
down
territory.
road territory. Yeah,
Shut up, dude.
Mostly like 2X white graphic T-shirts, and that's more.
That's
Yeah,
my
sure.
thing.
But
Hey-
you'll get me something at some point, right?
Yeah, I got you the coffee.
Yeah, that's it.
I got you the
Perfect,
coffee.
Perfect.
And speaking of wearing things, what are you wearing? For the listeners, can you tell them what you got on your cabeza?
Oh my gosh.
Cabeza is a Spanish word.
I thought you were talking about
Yeah,
my
I picked
new
up some
shirt
sp-
that
I
you
s-
guys didn't say anything
Picked up
about.
some Spanish in St. Augustine.
Oh, great.
So, dozo. That's Japanese.
So I've got on Valor's brand new trucker hat. If you could see this, you would be jealous. I'll say that.
It's a tasteful trucker hat.
Yeah.
It's not as bulky as the trucker hats I've seen.
There it is. Wow. Are you gonna focus? Huh?
Did you?
Yes.
No.
It looks so good. I can't believe it.
It is it's a hot
There
commode,
it is.
man.
Check that out.
We already selling that thing at the cafe?
Yeah, it is on sale. Crop T-shirts are on sale. Not on sale. We're selling them. What is it?
They're for sale.
They're for sale. We're not ones to really run too many sales.
So the hat, for all you listeners, has Valor's logo at the top. Below it, it says Alpharetta, Georgia. Below that, it has our staircase logo separating 4 words. All right, the 4 words are Rip and Bean Staircase since 2016.
It rhymes.
We like to rhyme.
That's great. Is Rip and Bean since 2016 going to take the place of an absolute treat?
No,
Please, no.
we just have it all because we have a shirt that says Valor, an absolute treat.
Right.
Yeah. Which is a funny shirt. It's so tightly woven. A lot of people think I'm wearing a dry fit. I kind of like
Yeah.
it. It's like it's a wacky, it's a special thing.
So the material is it's interesting because most of the time when you see a heather shirt, it's gray, but that is a white heather shirt.
Oh,
Interesting.
interesting. I'm interested.
So I think that's why it's got that feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever I was describing it on the website, I was like, it's so thick, but it's so soft.
So thick, so soft. Yeah, I like it. It's in my wardrobe, my repertoire.
Yeah, you were wearing it before you released it.
Oops. Well, I was wearing this shirt and then I spilled coffee all over it. Remember this thing?
That's funny.
Yeah, we did. For all you listeners and watchers, we did airbrush T-shirts on our 1-year anniversary of the cafe being open.
Guys,
We're-
I have a meeting topic as it relates to that. Mikey, okay. We've talked about doing some dunk tank action. And
I'm pro dunk tank.
And Mikey needs to know the budget for this second.
I've already
third year
told her.
party. You already did.
Yeah.
Is it too much?
No, I told her her budget. I don't know if
How that fits with the dunk tank?
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I also was just like, I can't guarantee I'm gonna be there. I might have a kid. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you guys both might be out. Well, I mean, you might show up.
I think we'll
With
both
a kid?
have kids.
What day is it?
August 20th.
Yeah.
If we don't both have kids, then that is insane.
Yeah. Our wives will have popped by then.
Yeah.
August 20th. Yeah.
10 months pregnant.
Well, anyways. Great. I'm glad you already got
Hey,
that to us.
David had his kid.
David had his kid.
No way.
Friend of the program.
Friend of first guest, David Funk.
Baby Funk.
What's do you mind sharing a little detail? Just name.
I don't know the name.
Yeah, I don't think they've shared the name.
Probably like Chad.
It is a boy.
I think it was the wee hours of yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe 1 a.m. or something.
1 a.m.
Cali.
Pacific.
Cali time, Pacific time, yeah.
Specific time.
But yeah, huge congrats to them.
Wow! Congratulations,
I think
David.
it was
Lily.
a good birth, you know. Nothing went super wrong. So
I
that's
think
great.
Ross Riley Funk was the final name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I got what's it called? When you're not included in something, but you thought you would. You got like cut. There's a word.
Outed?
No, outed is like getting exposed.
Okay.
Maybe I'll get outed on this podcast later for something.
Well, it's like how David is to us as Kobe and Joseph are to you.
right. Yeah,
Right.
we all have friends before this friendship started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will mean way more than this thing.
This is all business.
Speaking of, tune into my other podcast with my other friends called Swag All the Time.
And it's funny, the three of them, they've all amassed some amount of fame between the three of them.
We got some fame, like not famous, but we got some like pretty cool friends that have gone on to do some cool stuff.
They're
We're
doing things.
We're the least famous.
We're the scrubs.
Yeah.
We're scrubs.
They're doing things with very famous, visible things.
Yeah. This is true. Like Will Arnett, you know?
Yeah,
You know him?
like Adam Sandler.
They're
you know.
just like Will Arnett.
Shaq. Hey,
No.
what?
No.
What?
Stop. Just
All
stop.
right. All right.
Anyways, what are we talking about today, boys? What's the meat and the potatoes after these past 40 or so minutes?
Of the first course.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
That was the amuse-bouche.
The aperitif.
I'm sure people are just starving for their main entree now, which is, the last 3 episodes we talked about the top 3 questions, common questions that we get as a wholesale, provider, as a roaster.
Partner.
People come to us having started a cafe, asking questions about starting their own cafe. And so we kind of walk through those. But we thought, what if we just took more of a systematic approach, more of a we've put 0 prep into this. But, so let's
speak
see
for yourself.
let's see what happens.
I'm
but
always prepping.
like it seems like a lot to call it a step-by-step guide for starting a coffee shop, but we'll try to get as close as we can because there's just certain misconceptions of like people starting with step 7 instead of starting with step 1, and it'd be interesting to know. I'm sure everybody's step 1 is different, but there are certain things that you should consider before others, So, and we've talked on the program before about some of the business structure of a coffee shop, vesting schedules, ownership splits. We've talked about, defining your core values and your vision and your mission, roles in the company. But what about more of the, I'm thinking like location. How do you define if it's a good location or not, and how does that shape your business model? Mm-hmm. Funding, if I'm just let's say I'm just someone with a 760 credit score and not a ton of debt. What are my options for funding this cafe? Just kind of stuff like that. Do any of those kind of topics come to mind for you guys as far as like things to think about when you're starting a coffee shop?
Well, yes, Ross.
Oh, wonderful.
Great. Oh, step 1. Wow, you're like kind of.
I'm a visual guy,
Yeah. No, I get that.
I know what my step 1 would be.
What?
It's something you can do for free. Mission, vision, potatoes.
Wow.
Wow.
Mission, vision, values.
Yeah.
Am I right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you could maybe type that out. Just as far as like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I was thinking like a buzzword aside. What do you want and why do you want it?
Right.
I
think a really big thing to consider, again, this is free too, is like, what is my career trajectory? Mm-hmm. Our version of that was we dropped out of high school. Sorry. We dropped out of college, rather. And we've talked about this before on the program. We dropped out of college.
Wrapped up 8th grade, and
we were all sort of like moving out of our parents' house, kind of getting married around the same time, about to take on rent and a water bill and a Wi-Fi bill. God.
electric bill.
All these different bills, right?
Garbage bill.
And it's like, okay, well, we dropped out of college to start a business. So, man, this thing better work. And so that was definitely for me one of the main driving factors in the early days is like, we don't have a plan B. We're going to make this a career.
Well, you were really into that. I think that you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, or at least part of it.
I did read part of it.
And I think at the beginning, the main crux of that book is burn your bridges of your other options.
Yeah.
And you were into that for a second.
Yeah.
And I think maybe there was some resentment between us at some point.
Yeah, as far as like, are you guys all in?
which is
Or-
funny because you weren't in at a
Right.
certain point.
Right.
Anyways,
Right.
are you in now? Just wondering.
Well, I'm here on the program. Is that enough for you?
Well, we've had guests of the program, so I don't think that really means much.
In and out, man.
Anyways, I think there is a sentiment to salvage from that though. Like, is this what I'm going to? Is this going to be my main thing, essentially? And that's an important decision to make whenever you're starting out, because if it's not your main thing and things get hard, then you might just be like, oh, this isn't worth it. But I'm so glad we pushed through all those hard times where we weren't making any money and not seeing any growth. Because if we didn't and just took another opportunity, like I could have just kept, playing music. And for me, like that was where my immediate money was. But as far as like my career path, I wanted to go more in this direction. And now coming along since Valor's established, I've been able to come back to music. And so it's like I still get to do both. So, yeah.
Interesting. I wonder how many folks out there, if you're just thinking about our partner group of partners, how many is this like coffee shop their main thing, and how many is it like a side hustle? Because it does really change so much of the company. If you're an Elias and this is my coffee shop, I'm gonna work it, or if you're somebody who's like, I have 4 other businesses and I want a coffee shop too.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to pay for it to happen.
Yeah. And to be clear, I'm not saying my viewpoint on it is the right one for everyone. I'm just saying
it just looks different.
All I'm saying is you have to decide how are you viewing this coffee shop in your portfolio of income and your time allocation.
And I've heard it said before, it can be really confusing for the company if an owner kind of bounces between those roles.
Yep.
Of like they're in for 6 months and then they're traveling the world for 9 months and then they're back and super hands-on, then they're off.
Oh yeah.
They give responsibility, they take it away. That can shake, rattle, and roll your company pretty bad.
Absolutely.
That's great. So step 1, I think, rewording it as what do you want and why do you want it? So consider career trajectory, consider your work-life balance. Work-life integration, yes. That's a much better way to put it.
Don't you say that?
No.
Who says that?
I've never said that, especially seriously.
I just feel like someone made a joke about that. That was one of you.
Like Gary V probably said something about that.
That just sounds like you never stop working.
Yeah.
Work-life integration.
Sounds bad.
Goodness.
Thanks, but no
Wait,
thanks.
you guys stop working?
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah, good.
I'm thinking of seasonal drinks while I'm going to bed.
Yeah, so, I mean, do we want to kind of zoom in on what all that looked like for us a little more? Because, like you said, we dropped out of school, but starting a business with 3 people,
And not just starting a cafe.
Yeah.
We were like forming a concept.
Yep.
The concept became a catering program.
Yes.
The catering program became a cart.
Yes.
And the cart became a cafe.
Yeah.
Well, I think so.
So, with all that being said, what we're going to tell you to do, we didn't really do some of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And this is if we were to start a coffee shop today, that's the title of this podcast for sure.
Yeah, that'll be good clickbait.
And it'll be like the thumbnail's like,
yeah, and then it's like,
and it's like a thought bubble, and there's like a cafe in there.
We need more people doing this again.
For sure.
More like thinkers.
Yeah, and then Ethan's just like,
Finger way up my
Like-
nose.
Like one finger in the ear, the other finger up the nose, that kind of stuff.
classic Ethan.
That's just me. That's me.
That's true.
so dumb.
But we 3 owners, very, in a business with pretty bad profitability
Yeah.
that we have to grow to make this viable long term. And but we did it. So that's the point. The answer is different from person to person. But if you want to open one cafe and it be the neighborhood cafe and you call it there, maybe don't do it with 4 people if you want to make a full-time living.
Absolutely.
If you're one person, you could probably make a pretty good living if you get the thing ticking. But that's the kind of thing that you need to consider in the what do you want and why do you want it.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I want to have a roastery, I want to have 14 locations, then yeah, maybe go get yourself some business partners and make the load a little easier on yourself, but expect the money to not really be there for you all at
For
the
a
beginning.
while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We took the approach since we started when we were 19 years old and we didn't go to business school or whatever. We just read books and talked to business people and asked them to help us. But we have always just had such a slow growth mindset. And the reason is we really just didn't know how. Like, we didn't know how to start a cafe. And so we're like, okay, we're just going to try it and trial by fire, and it's turned out awesome. Like, it's an amazing cafe. And I haven't felt good about opening more locations until the first location was great. Of course, like, that's an obvious statement.
Great without maybe our constant care.
Yes.
Because it was great from the start,
Yeah.
but the systems and the maybe problem-solving experience team.
Was just the owners.
Yeah. So you need time to develop other people to be those people.
Right. Yeah, because you can't scale something until it is a scalable, like, replicable thing. And so my question, though, is let's say we were to start over again with three of us right now, and we have the experience, and let's say we're just like way better at our jobs than we are right now. Like, we're really experienced. We know how to do coffee shops. We know how to raise up leaders to run coffee shops.
Nice.
And we have tons of money, right? To like,
Sounds awesome.
would we scale a lot faster? That's my question. Or do you need the minutes, days, hours, years invested into a cafe before you scale it? Basically my question is like, can we, if you have a lot of money and a lot of experience, could you open 3 cafes way faster than we did? Or do you really just need the time that we invested into the cafe,
Yeah, there's could you from a work and experience and skill standpoint, and there's also could you from a capital standpoint, obviously. But
Right. Yeah. If capital was no problem,
yeah,
it's like, let's just say, that's really just what, like, if you franchise a fast food chain, you have a system that works really, really well. It's basically just like a foolproof system. Like, because it's simple. Each job is simple. You hire local people to, do each of these roles. And as long as all of these different roles, the line cook's working, the cashier's working, the barista's working, then you have a manager to make sure that everybody's doing well, everybody's doing their jobs well, and everybody feels appreciated and taken care of. The manager works on the culture. It's like, that's a role. And then you just have a certain little nest egg of working capital that you leave with each location. It's like, in theory, you've got money, you've got a system, and that's it. Like, that's all you need. Apparently, maybe. That's what I'm proposing, I do think that there's something special and necessary to, like, just having years of experience with a cafe. But my question is, like, what if, we needed years with 44 Milton before we were ready to scale it, right? But that was because we'd never done it before.
Yeah.
We had to work out so many of these kinks that presented themselves in those years. But what if we just already knew all of those kinks,
Right. And we were evolving the cafe like seasonally,
How so?
I'm just thinking about our offerings, and mostly I was thinking about kegs, for example, like the rendition that we have of this cafe. We're going to take that and replicate it. We're not replicating the cafe that opened in 2019.
Yeah. It took us a long time to figure out what's worth replicating.
Right.
Yeah.
So that kind of hits on the experience thing. It seems like what you're proposing, the only, the big variable is just the people, right? The people that you could get to be a part of that. And hypothetically, in my mind, if you had a detailed growth plan, you could bring on, better is not the right word, but just maybe more experienced and more calibrated people
Yeah.
that maybe want that kind of responsibility, and maybe through their past experience are more worthy of that responsibility sooner. And you can bring them in as pit crew, like the lowest level for a smaller season. I think we were kind of talking about this yesterday, in more of a direct promise of like, hey, come be a part of this team, and in 3 to 6 months we should have a salaried position for you.
Right.
But we didn't have that with 44 Milton because and for good reason. I mean, we've talked about this a little bit before on the podcast about being a small business and balancing casting vision with over promising and over building like expectation. But we hired people that like were interested in us and like loved the idea of working for Valor for a time, but we were never like, are you head coach? Like, are you going to run our shop in 6 months material? Because that wasn't even on our horizon.
We just hired people that knew even less than we did.
Right.
It makes me I don't have any regret, but it makes me wonder, like, would we be at 3 locations right now if we would have hired a very, very seasoned, experienced like GM, like day one at 44 Milton, like if we would have just hired like a consultant or something to like, we would have had
Get a headhunter.
Yeah, we would have had our like replicable, sustainable cafe model 6 months into 44 Milton, as opposed to 3 years into it. Obviously, there's a certain amount of ownership you lose when you do that. Like we made that shop and it's our baby, and we personally learned so much.
Well, that kind of gets back to this then, right? Of like, what do we want? Did we just want to like boom, 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 cafe, roastery? You're probably, and bring in other people to like totally pioneer that. This would be a completely different company.
Oh yeah.
And it would probably, I wouldn't say worse, but it'd just be diluted because there'd just be a lot more hands involved and a lot less like time to build culture and like do conflict together in a healthy way. But it's just like, hey, someone's got to make a call. Like, hey, we just got to get this going. So, yeah, I guess that's the trade-off, right? Of what do you want? Do you want to scale to a certain degree very quickly, or are you happy to take your time? So that, I guess that kind of gives some food for thought for that step one. And then step two is involved in that of like, okay, well, if that's what you want, how does that system work? Like, what does it look like? What does it smell like? Who wants to work there? Who are you doing it for? And that's, I guess, where you start filling out that mission, vision, values. And we really chopped it up when we had a big podcast about that, like maybe
A month or two ago.
Just listen to that one. That'll get you.
Yeah.
That'll get you going there.
Did you have something to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what the hell were we thinking?
In what way?
Just when we started this business, Like
trying to put ourselves in this position now.
because we weren't planning on roasting.
No.
We were planning on being, having a wholesale provider forever.
Right.
I don't think we had any plans beyond one cafe because one cafe was so unattainable at the start.
It was such a big. That's a good point. It was such a big goal for us because we were 19. It was
Yeah.
like, how could we even fathom doing?
Well, and we used to do that a lot. The 1 year goal, 6-month goal, 1 year goal, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year. I don't remember what our 10-year goal was at that point.
How early on was it where we had the idea? It was like Valor family, coffee shop, restaurant, bar,
Hotel.
Yeah.
like hotel.
Hospitality.
It was like a
Hospitality
that was,
empire.
That was like our most vision ahead, like thinking ahead time, and it was pretty early on.
That was during the cart. I remember talking about that while we had our pop up.
We wanted to make one awesome coffee shop and then move to other industries within the hospitality umbrella.
All right, you guys think we'll ever do a hotel?
Smash like if you think we're going to do a hotel.
I do think we could offer some really great hospitality consulting for a hotel.
Yeah.
I think using the same. So if you're a hotel out there, smash and hit us up for consulting.
Yeah, Marriott, smash
Yeah,
just real quick.
we know you're listening.
La Quinta.
No, I just think the reason we had that dream for a little bit was because I think we were really starting to realize that we know how to do hospitality well. I think even when we had our dinky little cart in the back of Thrive Co-working, in our mobile setup, I just kind of looked around and I was like, man, we're offering the best hospitality that I've ever seen. As a 21-year-old person, I've never experienced hospitality better than this, and I'm getting it from a cart. And I think just catching that and being like, man, what all could we do with this? I feel like we're really catching gold here. This is who Valor is. This is who we are. So I think there was some really great things about that, but we just realized that is, we just want to do coffee.
Yeah, and there's just that vision has a way different application of skill set, money,
Right.
time. So, yeah.
If we ever did something like that, I think we would just weigh in and have a role in the things we're good at. Kind of like I said earlier, of hiring a GM that is seasoned in running a restaurant or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, we provide a lot of the culture building, the hospitality philosophy, that sort of thing. And then just kind of maybe quality control. That's about it.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, step 1, what do you want? What's your career trajectory? Step 2, why do you want it? Getting your mission, vision, and values. Just a brief little overview that we detailed this in our mission, vision, values podcast. I think it's finding your core values is the name of it.
Sure.
Something like that. If you scroll through our feed, you'll definitely find it. But the way
we'll link to it in the show notes.
There we go. Come on.
There it is.
A little overview of what mission, vision, and values mean to us personally and how we apply those. If you think about...
I spell vision with 2 S's after typing mission every single time.
Dude, relatable. Mission, vision, values. If you think about a train as the analogy, we'll start with vision. Vision is the destination of the train. The reason the train is in motion going down the tracks is to reach the destination that it's headed to. It's going from, Atlanta to New York. New York is the destination. That's the vision.
And that's our vision, New York.
Yeah. The reason we're in motion is to make our vision happen. And our vision right now is we want to match the top 1% of coffees in the world with the top 1% of service and hospitality in the world. So that's kind of why we're doing everything we're doing.
Where do you guys think we are on that path?
Top 1% percent of coffee.
Like what percent of the top you think we're in each section?
If we're talking coffee, no, like the coffee industry, I think we're in the top 1% of service. I hope. And then coffee, boy, we just don't taste that much coffee.
Yeah.
Like we just taste U.S.
It's hard to. It's not the best thing to have a vision you can't measure. That's why I've always
Google reviews. We have Google reviews.
That's why I've always been left wanting on our vision, and I felt like it hasn't been like exactly what it needs to be, because it's like you want to be able to measure a vision if it truly is the destination.
I came up with this vision while writing an email to the AJC about our new cafe.
That's
I
funny.
remember that.
And I just put it in the email.
He was like, oh, that kind of stuck. I mean, it's true. It's like, it's just goes back to excellence and empathy has always been our, if we could only have two values, it would be excellence and empathy, of having that duality. It's not a balance of excellence and empathy. It's both a duality of being excellent in what we do, caring a ton about our product, being passionate about it, very knowledgeable, while also being non-pretentious about that and being hyper empathetic towards our guests and our employees. But anyways, so that's the vision, is the reason you're in motion, your destination. The mission is the fuel that the train uses to get to the vision. So, we're talking about an electric train, we're talking about a coal-powered train, whatever. Your daily sort of, I'm consuming this mission, it's going to fuel me and propel me to get to the vision. And our mission is uplifting people through coffee. If you were to sum up what we daily come to work to do on a daily basis, it's to uplift people through coffee. And that goes, that definitely applies to our guests and our wholesale partners, but it also applies to our fellow teammates to uplift each other. And then the tracks in the analogy are the values. And so if a train is headed down the tracks towards the destination, the tracks are the values that keep you going towards your vision. If you start to get off track, then you're not going towards your vision. So that we have 7 core values and shrinking. We're trying to really trim them down before our next cafe.
We're fine.
I think we're at 5 now.
Why don't you just give 3 real quick?
3?
Yeah.
So 1 is put empathy into action, would be one of our core values. That's one we're definitely keeping. Another one is details matter. All about just, I love values that are very self-explanatory. Details matter. They just matter.
Deal with it.
And then I'm just like, we're changing it so much I can't even remember.
Get your freak on.
Yeah, which is a pretty funny one. But if we're talking about the things that will keep us on track, if we're not having fun with each other, and if fun isn't a part of our brand, then we're off track. We're not going towards our vision. So brief little synopsis on what mission, vision, and values are.
Yeah, pick your own. I would say that.
Oh, yeah.
We started by borrowing a good bit of values from other people.
Yeah.
And you always hear people say, pick your own values. And it's true. I mean, you can kind of let someone else's be the framework of yours, but if you don't make them, then are they really your values?
Yeah. You'll eventually feel the effects of having someone else's values somewhere down the line.
Absolutely. Those are 2 great steps. And yeah, those are free. You can sit down and do those. I'm not saying they're not going to take a really long time, because they do.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
Time is money, so.
oh, wow.
Well said.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you value your time?
Oh, wow.
Step 3.
That's
How
a
do you
whole
value
different
time?
Me,
program.
$1,000 an hour.
Wow.
At least.
Dang.
That's a good rate.
So step 1 and step 2. I mean, we're talking step 3, right, boys?
That's what comes next. That's a good point.
Let's just think about it. Let's say we're having a meeting right now on air, and we just figured out our mission, vision, and values. What would we do next? I mean, I would probably start to think about, okay, how are we going to fund this thing?
Yeah.
And I would think about, okay, where do we want to be? What's the location
So maybe the logistics lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of almost like your core. Something about these core logistics. It's like the pillars of the business:
Yeah.
location, funding.
Yeah, and when it comes to location, several different ways to look at it.
Concept.
Yeah, your concept of like what are we going to serve and
Concept is probably first, huh?
Yeah, like what is this thing?
What is
yeah,
this
because
thing?
that would precede where you'd want to put it and how much
money
cost.
it'll take. Yeah, no doubt. So our concept, we went through several different, didn't we?
Did someone say acai bowls?
Yeah,
Oops.
I think we were just really stoked on acai bowls for a while, and we were like, dude, these things are so good.
They taste good.
Like, I wonder if they would go good with coffee. And so we were like, we're gonna be coffee and acai.
Acai.
That's so funny. Because we don't want to be like those lame coffee shops that just have coffee and pastries. But we literally ended up being that.
100%.
And I think that's just not to get off track, but that's just another
Outsourced pastry.
common theme in our business is like doing things that other people do, but really, really well and executed really well. So we're just doing coffee and pastries at that cafe, but it is a very special, very, humming cafe.
Well, that brings up a really good point of the concept, like our concept, and you hit on it when you were looking at the catering page, was like, you're just a coffee shop. Like, we have a cool seasonal menu, we have awesome coffees, but like, we're just a coffee shop. No frills, no like, but this, we do pina coladas as well. And then
Ross.
But our concept is that we invest so much in our people and we make the systems so systematized
Come on.
that the people are free to invest in the guests. Like the team is free to invest in the people that come into the cafe. And that's the concept, is like, we have a pretty, pit crew, don't be mad. I'm just coming to terms with a pretty easy thing. Like, yes, we are very high volume. Yes, we're very detailed about it. But like, we're not, like, we've cut, it's the whole priorities thing. Like, we cut anything that was too much, like too much food or like too much of this or that. Like, hey, let's not do the online thing anymore. It's too much. Like, we try to do a lot to create space for the team to interact with guests and like make moments of delight.
Yeah.
That is like what pays our bills.
Well, there's a difference between easy and simple.
Yeah. Simple is a lot better. But I was talking to someone else on our team who worked at another shop, and they have a totally different concept. When they're not making drinks, they're in a closed off kitchen prepping and making food. And so the way that they delight their guests is just through their offerings. Like they have no other bandwidth or capacity to do anything.
And that's cool.
But I was just thinking, like, that is so different from our desires and the way that we like framed it. And that's why you're talking about the cart being like, whoa, this is a great hospitality experience, is because it was just like getting a bunch of people in a room with us and us being servants to them. Making drinks and like talking.
Yeah, what a good point. Simplify your menu so that you can focus more on like having really great hospitality.
And big shout out, I've noticed I worked this weekend, big shout out to our friend Sharini, who sells these like conversation card games called Uncurated. And we sell them at the cafe, but we have an open deck, right, where you kind of like wait for your drink. And the amount of people now, it's like clockwork. They order, they come over, and they like look through cards, and they start talking about like a transcending small talk conversation, and then they'll talk to us about it, and we'll share. And it's like, this is really special. They're like, you're getting a coffee, but like
you're talking about your greatest fear.
Yeah, you're talking about what makes you feel insecure. There's positives, but there's a couple like deeper levels of like
with total strangers.
Yeah.
No, it's great. Yeah, and so that defining the concept is important, but I think it's a good segue into location because for us, our location and the size of our space has, I think, constricted us in a good way at times.
To the concept almost?
Yes. Like the size of our space with bathrooms and back rooms and office and the front floor area, it's 1,000 square feet, right? Maybe just over.
Mm-hmm.
And then the front area is it under 600 or under 700?
It's under 7.
Under 7. So, call it 680.
Yeah.
Front area. So that's pretty tiny. I mean, our bar takes up a third of our space.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 25 seats in the cafe, which when you say it out loud, it's kind of crazy that we can have that many seats. Is it 25? That's what's on our website.
6, 10, and then there's 6, 16. There's 20 now.
20 seats.
No.
Well, you got big B is 6, little b is 4, so that's 10. And then you have 6 from the 3 two-tops, and then you have 4 bar seats. 20.
We used to have 5 seats at Little B. And we used to have 2 more
On the
seats.
end. So
I
it's
think it was 23, and I think we just rounded it up.
25.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we counted the elbow bar, which I love the elbow bar by
Yeah.
the grinders. So you could put 2 people there. So technically 25. Are you
But-
you going to change it?
Yeah, I'm just going to
Just edit.
hop in the source code real quick.
Those pictures are awesome.
Anyways, so there's been times where we have wanted to innovate our system in order to be more efficient or to offer something that's out of the ordinary, or add a food item or add cocktails or add whatever. But we always just run into this same thing of like our space is small.
Too small.
So it's interesting, with Cafe Number 2 in Dunwoody, our space is just over 2,000 square feet, right?
Yeah.
2,055.
And so we have a lot more space, but we're not changing our model at all. Like it still has the same offerings that a 680 square foot coffee shop does. It's just that we love that model so much that we believe it will support a over 2,000 square foot space. And the ways that's played out is like we can handle more volume because we're going to have a bigger bar and we're going to have 2 different concierge, aka points of sale. So we're going to be able to take twice as the amount of orders, make hopefully twice the amount of drinks because we'll have 2 expo stations. And a big one is there's going to be a lot more room for a line in that space. In 44 Milton, you can basically, if we're talking like ideal, comfortable, you can fit 3 people in line inside before it starts like wrapping around into the seating, which is not ideal. Mm-hmm. So then they have to stand outside, which, in Georgia is hit or miss in terms of enjoyability. But anyway, so our location has shaped our concept into what it is, but we're not losing the heart of what that concept is in a new, bigger space. So, anything else on location for you guys?
Yeah, us specifically, that doesn't mean to say that one location won't have something different than another location.
Yeah, for sure.
We might have a full service kitchen at some point, and that'll be cool. It's just, we can't even have that because it wasn't within the concept to start.
Right.
With our first cafe. Probably could have done it at Dunwoody, but again, like you said, that location for us was more of like, let's do what we're doing already since it's going right. And
do it better.
Let's do it better. Because, how many times are you sitting in the cafe and you see someone like see that every seat is taken and they walk away and go to Starbucks or a different coffee shop. So we're like, let's make that never happen again.
Yeah.
If it happens at Dunwoody, then that's a really good problem to have.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
That would be pretty nuts considering with outdoor seating will probably be over 100. Whew. Shoo-wee.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about the structure of the space, the square footage, that sort of thing. But in terms of the location, like where it is on a map, of several different things that are great about our Alpharetta location. It is in a high traffic area. There's not a ton of cars passing by Valor on our little side street, but there's tons of cars passing by on Highway 9 right there, that goes by our street. So that's great. That's sort of a side thing because that's not the main. We're not like a commuter cafe or whatever. The other thing is that there's a ton of people walking around. We're in a downtown area. If you're listening, I'm sure you're aware of this concept that has swept the nation of renovating a downtown area, adding a splash pad, using words like walkability,
multi-use development,
multi-use,
Live, work, play.
All these things where you have apartments up top and you got street retail on the bottom and you can walk everywhere. Basically just like taking a 3 square mile chunk out of New York City and putting it in a suburb, using that same concept. So we're in one of those areas in Alpharetta, Georgia. And so tons of people walking around, and they just walk by and see that, oh, that's a coffee shop. So people learn about us that way. People also just come to Alpharetta as a destination to hang out. So if people are just looking to take from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. and like have a date or a fun day with their friends or whatever, they can come to Alpharetta and pretty much fill that entire time block with food or drink or walking around or, go to a fly fishing store or something. And so Alpharetta itself is a destination. And so those are a few things that are good about our location. I mean, there's a lot of residential around our location too. If you go northwest of our location, there's just tons and tons of affluent, housing that tons of people live, and they have to drive. A lot of those people who live up there, they have to drive through downtown Alpharetta to get to their jobs, to get to the main highway, which is 400. This is all like a lot of details, but I think it's so helpful to think about when you're trying to assess if a location is good or not. Another thing is that I almost lost it.
Don't lose it, Ross.
No. I lost it.
That's all right.
Anyways, some things about location.
Yeah, that's good. If you want to have a concept, and again, it all goes back to concept. There's many layers to this. Because if your concept is, I'm going to have a 5-drink menu, or I'm going to have my menu is going to say filter, white, black, or something like that. Probably not going to put that in Dahlonega, Georgia.
Right.
You might put it in Atlanta, Georgia.
And you probably wouldn't do very well.
You probably wouldn't do very well, but, let's see it.
You do better.
You do better than in Dahlonega, yeah, I guess. But you probably could do well in Portland, or Melbourne.
Yeah.
Melbourne.
Perth.
Perth.
So, yeah, Perth.
Auckland.
Keep them coming. So that is a level of, basing it off of concept. Again, you probably wouldn't put a drive-thru in a place where a car can't pull up.
Amen.
So good. Another part of our concept is that we've always said we want to be more of a social environment than a study, library, sleepy coffee house environment. Mm-hmm. That's another thing to delineate, like when you're starting. Again, our location and our square footage or lack thereof has forced us to be more of a social atmosphere, and like the volume of our music and stuff. We play more upbeat, hopefully, louder music, which kind of leads people towards more of a social, almost think of like a hoppin' bar at night. People are just hanging out, having fun. So it's more of that environment, and gosh, it just bleeds into everything. Our hiring, the people we choose, points towards our concept. People they are social people. They love people. They want to talk to people. And these are all very simple things. But if you were just a coffee shop and your concept was make drinks for people that are on their laptops, you probably wouldn't need to hire people that are. You might just hire people that are really, really, really good at making drinks.
Or make USB-C quality beverages every drink. You're probably just going to look for people who have 10 years of experience at your concept.
Sure. So that was another thing about our concept too, is it's more of a social thing than a internet cafe.
Did you talk about considering the word is not competition, but other coffee shops in the area? Because that was a big draw for us to stay in Alpharetta. Was like, well, we have a pretty captive audience, and I don't think we definitely subscribe to the higher tides lift all boats. Like most humans drink coffee, so if there's a coffee shop across the block, like they're just going to catch a different crowd, and we're going to get a different crowd, and that's come to fruition in Alpharetta because I think there's like 3 or 4 coffee things happening now, and there was like 0 to 1 happening when we were there, and it's all the same pretty much. But I mean,
we're busier than ever.
Yeah, we're busier than ever.
And there's more coffee shops than ever.
And I'm sure they're busier than ever too.
Yeah.
But considering, like, are you next door to a coffee shop that's really popular? Maybe don't do it.
Totally worth considering.
Yeah. But that has also fueled our concept, though, right? And that was another big ad for Dunwoody. Was Dunwoody doesn't really have a specialty coffee scene, maybe barring, I think there's one down the street, not really in downtown Dunwoody. And that was a big reason for us to go there. It's like, well, these people drink coffee and need an amazing experience. Let's give it to them. But say if there was 2, 3 other specialty shops already in that same like plaza area, we'd probably be like, meh, probably not. Just let them do their thing.
We know some areas like that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, moving on, the last step, now you have your concept. Are we going to have a full kitchen? Are we going to have a drive-thru? Are we going to need 2 espresso machines? How big is our spot? That leads you all to, how much money am I going to need to do this? And that's a great question because we don't know either.
Things change.
Yeah.
Construction gets more expensive. There's a lot of fluidity. So I think the step 3 logistics lineup is probably very fluid in what you are like focusing on. You find maybe you're working on concept. While you're working on concept, you're looking at locations. While you're looking at locations, you're also like maybe talking to general contractors about pricing right now. Because, our first build out was super cheap. Had a guy who did a cut rate for us. We did a lot of the work again ourselves. This time around, it's a much bigger space. Bigger spaces cost way more money per square foot just to do things. I did have a question. If funding wasn't an issue, and there was no backlash to like spending more money, what do you think you guys would have changed about 44 Milton? Same space, maybe even similar concept. Like, what would be some changes that you could think of?
I would have invested in equipment.
Yeah, sure.
I would have got a different espresso machine that was new. And then definitely like all the best fridges, apparently not the best grinders. And I would have started there. I would love to see what that space would be like with a center bar, more of a square instead of a rectangle. see kind of how that would go. We didn't do that because we couldn't afford to bust up the pavement. And I don't even know if we were like seriously considering that, but I know we always wanted a center bar. The flow of that is a lot more fun to me, which is what we're doing in our Dunwoody space. So I would have started with equipment and then maybe a center bar and then probably like, I don't know, like gold, like lots of gold everywhere.
Gold plated things.
Yeah.
Like leather wrapped espresso machine, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Mostly like leather
That
and
exists.
gold. What about you guys?
I think we have grown into a lot of the things I would have said,
Yeah.
Like, I wish we would have tiled the backsplash. We did it. So I think, I agree with everything you said, and I would probably, add, like, doing pour-overs from the beginning. Like, we should have just installed seraphims right away. Or, obviously kegerator out front instead of in the back, which we're also doing. And then maybe just like more texture everywhere.
Like finishings.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's pretty plain, just like walls with paint on them, because that's all we could do.
And smart bulbs for colors.
Yeah. But if we had more textures and then, maybe more elevated lighting, then I would say that would be it for me.
I wish we could, like, somewhere in the seating area, install one of those things that makes you feel like you're in a tornado.
Oh, yeah.
Like see how much money you can catch.
Well,
It's
we
like
could-
that, but a little different.
Yeah, we could do money on some days. We could do coffee beans on other
that
days.
hurt.
Liquid coffee.
Yeah, just
Open your mouth.
I was going to say everything that you guys said. So calibrated.
Wow, how about that?
I guess that's kind of, and I would have paid for, no offense to our general contractor. He was just like a guy that built decks that also had a GC license, but probably would have just paid more for like a very ready to rock team.
Yeah.
But we were just like a side project for him, and I totally respect that he took us on,
Yeah, and we've always bantered back and forth about like, should we hire a designer, and like to design this space?
Yeah.
And we said no on the first one because we definitely couldn't afford it. And we also wanted to like really establish our aesthetic, just how we wanted to. And then on the second one, we also can't afford it. But we, I always, whenever I think about working with a designer on one of our spaces, my immediate next thought is like, what if they get it wrong? Like, what if it doesn't look how we want it to? And that is obviously the job of a designer. The sole job of a designer is to accomplish the vision of the person hiring them, while also making it look, technically good. So I'm sure it would work out, but that's another thing to consider if you got that in the budget.
Yeah, I think the main reason I would want to do that is because a lot of them would give you like a 3D CAD of your space.
Yeah.
And that's something we've never had. I remember I drew up like a 3D picture on my iPad of the cafe, and it was pretty close. Okay, it's pretty close, but it's not something that a professional would do. It would be a lot better. So I think the last thing I would do differently would be better furniture.
Oh, yeah.
We have pretty cheap tables, which have held up better than you'd expect, but they're still kind of crappy.
Yeah.
And our chairs just break all the time.
They really do.
So if I could do those things differently, but that is one of the most expensive parts about building out a cafe that sneaks up on you, especially looking at like this Dunwoody one with 60 seats or whatever. Like, we're going to be spending multitudes of tens of thousands of dollars on furniture
for your butts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't fart in our seats.
Don't spend so much money on your espresso machine that you don't have any money left for stuff like chairs and stuff like that.
I mean, that's probably how my brain worked when we were first doing this. It's like, all right, espresso machine's going to be like 20,000. Grinders will be like 4 brewers, like 2. I'm like, oh, great. It costs probably like 50 grand to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, you have to, like, it's kind of like part of a cafe is just the vibe, the decor, the furniture, the look.
Yeah. Man, people always want to know, how much is it going to cost for me to build out a coffee shop? Just for fun, let's just throw out some numbers, like for let's say like let's call our build out a skinny one in 44 Milton. Let's say that's as skinny as it gets. I mean, that's pretty fair.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's give like more of a premium number too. Let's just kind of a range. What do you think? I mean, with today's construction and all that's going to be higher, but
Well, so if we look at that cafe from day one, because that's the funny thing. It's like so many things have changed. Like we've added a kegerator, we've added backsplash and all these things here and there. But I think at that point, if you include the espresso machine and maybe like our grinders, we probably have 125,000 in it, 130.
I was gonna say 150, but
and I'll add the kegerators and stuff. So yeah, let's just call it 150.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was at that point of construction. So I think to do it today would probably be 200 or more.
Yeah, maybe 225.
Yeah, and that's on a very tiny space.
Tiny space, pretty like state of the art. Is that mediocre? Like mediocre equipment.
state of the art's like high end.
Oops. Mediocre.
Run of the mill.
Run of the mill.
That's what you're
My
looking
goodness, the English language.
Oh, look at that.
I'm not going to show this on
Okay,
the thing.
cool.
And then, phooey. And that's also with us cutting corners that make things worse. Grease traps above.
Yep.
Ground.
That's like
Ooh, that's one we would do different.
yeah, that's like saving $10,000 to go under concrete.
We pulled some favors too, like with your dad, Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Like
With mill work,
yeah.
probably saved another $5,000 in like wood. And then, so like skinny operation, today's world, I would say like $150,000 to $200,000.
Yeah. The only decoration is paint.
Yeah, and you're like on Facebook Marketplace looking for like restaurant tables and like restaurant chairs.
Yeah, and that's with buying cheap refrigeration and stuff that's going to break too.
And it will break, guys.
But you can do it. You can do it,
Yeah.
And that's a hard number to swallow, I feel like, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about going in on a cafe.
Sucks.
Because I think we just had in our head that it was going to be like 100. And it just seems way more attainable. But one thing though we had, and we can just give like a little glimpse into this, we had some time to kind of work up to that point as well, to that money, like funding thing. Because a big part of our company was trying to maintain the three of us being the owners of this company, because it's probably a little bit easier of a path to find an investor. I feel like that's a very common thing, whether those always come to fruition, but at least for people starting, you pretty much always hear someone say like, oh yeah, I'm talking to investors. It's just like everybody knows a rich person somehow.
Yeah.
But we kind of like took it in different chunks of like, we had the pop-up and we were saving our pennies, and so like just the company itself was paying for a pretty sizable chunk of the things that we were buying at one point.
Yeah, I was just thinking about kind of the breakdown of where we got our money from.
Yeah, because if we're saying like 120, 150, we took a personal loan from someone for 60, we took another personal loan for 20. That leaves almost half.
Yeah, and it was just all from that little cart in Thrive.
And did we raise 10,000 from the Pay What You Want? That was a really cool feature. Was like getting our guest community and families involved in like fundraising our dreams coming true.
We had a roasting operation at that time.
We did have a roasting operation.
I don't know how much money that was making though.
We were, we had a couple of wholesale accounts, and maybe a few people ordering online per week.
Yeah.
Max.
So that didn't really fund it much.
Yeah.
You want to shout out any of those people ordering since the get-go?
I'm trying to think back.
Meredith Yackel?
Craig Coley.
Greg Coley in Niceville.
Meredith Yackel. Mallory Clark.
Yeah.
There's more of you out there, and we love you.
Appreciate you.
Just to name a few.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You gotta kind of take a step back, and especially if you already have a couple of owners and you need the cash, you're like, am I gonna go get an investor and give up even more of my piece of the pie?
Mm-hmm.
And SBA loans aren't easy to come by for a new business. A lot of the times you got to have multiple years of profitability to even be eligible for
Proof
them.
of concept.
Yeah. So that's where you might want to start looking into personal loans. It's the hardest thing to get, I would say. Yeah.
A personal loan?
It's easiest from the stance of like credit and company history, but you just have to know the right person who has a lot of money
Dispensable.
and is willing to take a chance on you failing.
And they're okay with making a small amount of money in interest back instead of a small amount of money forever by being an investor,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Because if someone invests, they give you the money, but then you pay back over distributions. The loan is they do not receive any equity in the company, but they just get their money back with interest.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's elementary, but I had to say it.
Yeah, you did.
Thanks for saying that.
And then talking about a not so skinny build out.
Well, before we do that, there's
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Wow, that's cool. A lot of something we didn't talk about was like tenant allowance, tenant improvement allowance.
Mm-hmm.
If you get in the right location, it's a pretty common thing for your landlord to allocate a certain allowance to you for improvements to the space.
Yeah, the building itself.
Right. Because your landlord, one, wants you to succeed so that you keep paying them rent, and they want you to succeed. They also want you to improve the space itself. So, like, if you ever left, then their investment is appreciating. So that's also something you can factor into your budget as you pick your location. Again, it's definitely not this way for every space, but like I know in our Dunwoody space, the people who own that building are paying for a certain amount of renovations to the space to make way for us to open. They're installing some AC, some HVAC stuff. They're gonna like put the grease trap in for us. Doing these sort of things that does take money off of our budget, so that we don't have to do those things. So that is another thing to ask about whenever you're negotiating your lease or you're trying to work out your budget.
Yeah. So a lot of times, they call that space being white box, a white box space. So, has a stub ready for plumbing,
Right.
but you're not going to have a lot on top of that in terms of, you aren't going to have your furniture. The bar probably won't be built, so on and so forth.
Right.
And I will say with tenant improvement allowance, if you're looking at a space owned by a local good old boy, probably not going to get much in terms of
Yeah.
that. But, if you're looking at something owned by a multi-million-dollar real estate corporation, then they know that they're going to own the thing 30 years from now,
Yeah.
or they will have sold it for a profit. So they might be more willing to give an amount of money that doesn't make sense in your head for the terms of the lease. Like, I know for us with, even this HQ and for Dunwoody, it's like, how are they fronting this much money? They're not going to make any money from us until blank year of the lease, but they're thinking beyond us. And when we extend our lease or, even deeper level stuff of, we're bringing in a cool coffee shop. Maybe that means we can bring in this cool company down the road
That may
And-
not need any.
Yeah, and we won't give them TI.
Right. Yeah. People may extend a bit more charity to a coffee shop who needs a little bit more help starting, and the way that plays out is, like you said, allowance or free rent for a certain period of time, versus like a smartphone case store is just like instant money, so they don't even need money, right?
They just need the pegboard.
Right.
If you're thinking about starting a coffee shop, just don't. Just start a smartphone case
store.
Smartphone.
You break, I fix. Like screen repair.
Screen repair.
I'm going to the screen repair business.
I wonder how much they charge. Anyways, you were talking about more premium build out. This topic probably isn't quite as helpful as because no one's asking, hey, if I could do a premium build out, guys, what should I do? They're always asking like, all right, what's the minimum I can do to get this thing
How
going?
little can I spend?
Well, let's just say full transparency. What would you guys consider our Dunwoody location? I wouldn't call it skinny. We could go way skinnier on a lot of areas. We're over budget as it stands, and we're going to have to figure something out. But we will, I'm sure, right?
Oh, yeah. The money just flows. We just got to wait for some checks to clear. And
Yeah, totally. And hope that some of ours don't bounce, something like that.
checks to clear, not bounce.
So would you consider it like mid-level?
It's kind of what I was talking about, where like the size of the space just correlates to the price.
Mm-hmm.
It's just twice the size of 44 Milton, so we have to buy way more stuff. The bar has to be bigger. The production ceiling needs to be higher, so thus the equipment needs to be bigger. So we're just like buying a twice the price ice machine.
And we are getting better refrigeration, better
Totally.
dishwasher.
Yeah. And though it's not skinny, we're just doing what we're having to do at 44 Milton now, which is replace the bad equipment with better equipment. Anyways. So that is one, and we talked about it in a couple episodes ago, but just like if you can at all possible, try to get decent equipment at the get-go, because you're just going to spend way more in repairs and replacements pretty soon. But was your question? Oh, I guess where does our build out fall in the metric? It's just due to size. It's just more, but like we're just going skinny on a lot as far as like price because of what we're having to take on. If we were paying for people to paint the space and do tile work, I would say that it's pretty premium, pretty like higher end. I can't even imagine though how much like and this is no shade, I think it's great if you can do it, but like an onyx that has like the waterfall tile and the massive center bars and all that equipment, or like,
What's the GC bid on that?
yeah, I mean it's
Well,
got
and that's why I'm saying this Dunwoody location, because of our equipment, because of our more expensive furniture, we are doing some of the stuff ourselves, so that is skinny, but it will have more tile and more texture and all that. So that's why I would consider it a mid-level build out.
sure.
But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, some aspects make it super skinny and some make it nicer.
Yeah. So I bet we are going to end up spending $360,000 on this space. So if you have $360,000, smash like and comment.
Do you think we'll make that back?
Yes.
Yeah.
In like a month, probably.
A month, yeah. 360,000 divided by 31.
We have to make $10 to $12,000 a day for a month.
Hey, some people do
Some
it.
people do it.
Yeah.
Like a Kroger or Walmart.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you think a Chipotle makes $10,000 a day?
I think they're up there.
Yeah,
for sure.
So wait, so we just have to start doing burritos.
Yes. Again.
I heard about remember Deeply Coffee in Orlando?
Yes.
Of course.
I heard our friend Zion and our coworker Lilby went there, and they were offering a vegan Crunchwrap Supreme. I guess they have like a press or something, and they make Crunchwrap Supremes. I'm like, that sounds awesome.
Well, daggum.
I'm
Wow.
going to Orlando.
You want to get in the car and drive? Hit Disney
Shut
World
up
while
and
we're down there.
drive.
We can record the show on the way.
No, I'm going to SeaWorld. Like Disney, that's a mega corporation that I'm not going to support. I'm going to support SeaWorld.
Oceans.
Yeah.
What about Universal?
Oh, yeah, dude. The Shrek. Do they still have the Shrek ride?
If they don't, I'm not going.
How are we doing on time? You want to go a couple more or just call it?
We've been going. Let's go. I mean, how many more steps are there?
I thought we were done.
Yeah.
I mean, then you just get into like the application of your vision and plan, basically. And that's the easy part. Just like do it.
Well, you got hiring,
Firing.
all that stuff.
Maybe we can pick it up. Like
Pick it up.
You know how we did?
Oh, yeah,
we did
yeah.
a series.
Here we go. Part 1, Part 2.
Part 2.
Rivers.
I'm not saying. Oh yeah, wait. I am saying that. I'm not saying we say it now and then split it up later. I'm saying we cut and run, but we can come back with more detailed stuff on what are the next steps. You know what I mean?
Wow.
There it is.
You heard it here first.
So before we had a series on questions. Now we have a series on application.
Yes.
What are the best applications? Like apps.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do an app review.
Yes. Isn't it funny that
Flappy Bird.
app and application are the same thing?
Dude, that's hilarious. I think if you're listening and you're not starting a coffee shop, this I would stand behind this method.
Methodology.
I would stand behind this methodology for starting several different types of businesses. We haven't said a ton of things that are hyper specific to coffee.
We have said a lot of things that are hyper specific to retail oriented businesses.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of those.
for sure.
Clothing stores.
You guys know what we didn't say during this entire podcast?
Coffee.
Location.
Location.
What were we thinking?
Not bad.
much. Nope. This was the Coffee Sometimes podcast.
You guys ever listen to Audible and then at the end, the guy, or maybe it's at the beginning too. Yeah, the guy's like, "This is Audible."
No.
Are you an Audible subscriber?
I am. I get really behind on my credits and don't use it enough. So but I think my goal this year, this isn't a lofty goal. There's a lot of you out there who do way more than me. Okay, I get it. My goal was like 17 books, I think.
That's a ton.
But I feel like everyone's goal for books is like 52.
Gosh, I think our brains are too small. We
I
can't
don't.
handle that.
I barely retain what I get from books, anyways.
This quantity over quality culture's got me sick to my stomach. Okay, read one book. I bet if you read one book a year and really applied it, it would do a lot more damage, whatever the word is, like effective.
Move the needle.
Move
Yeah.
the needle more than powering through 52 books.
Well, and I'm including my Audible consumption in my books. I know there's a lot of people out there who wouldn't like that either. Okay.
And we know who you are.
Yeah, we know who you are. Smash like. But
If you know who you are, smash like.
Yeah. If you really know who you are.
Wow.
If you know that you know.
So we're in
That you know.
we're in July. We're in month 7. I think I'm 6 in. So I'm
That's not bad.
I might be a touch behind, but hopefully over my leave, I will be able to catch up a little bit.
Do you listen to an audiobook when you're not driving?
I haven't, other than driving and flying so far. That's been the only 2 times in all of my flying travels. To Buffalo once.
For your appointments?
Yeah.
I have something to say before we leave.
Ross, do you think it's okay if he says something?
Yeah, go for it. Shoot.
Speaking of Audible and audiobooks,
He wrote a book.
yeah, it's called Somehow I Manage. Nah, I'm just kidding. Me and the missus got The Hobbit on Audible for our drive down to
Oh my gosh.
Florida.
Did you fall asleep?
No. No, it kept. So that's the thing. Andy Serkis, the famed actor, director, voice of Gollum.
Wow.
He didn't direct Lord of the Rings. He directed other stuff, guys, like the Venom movies.
Of course.
he did the reading, and it was one of the most amazing like pieces of
Material.
literature that I've like consumed ever, because he just did the voices and his like cadence, and I mean it's his job. But it was unreal, and I was gripped.
Wow.
I was on the edge of my seat.
It's amazing.
He even sang the songs. He sang the songs in the different voices of like he would sing an elven song, like he was talking like an elf, and he would do like dwarven songs and hobbit songs. Whew. So if you got nothing going on, download Audible and get The Hobbit with your free credit.
That is nuts, and I will say the reader of the book really does make a difference.
I was worried about listening to it because I've listened to other things, and the reader has distracted me from the content.
Because they're just like blah 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 blah.
Or they're like too into it in a weird way.
Yeah.
They have like a weird way that they always do a sentence. What is that called? Like
Cadence,
Flow.
cadence, flow. There was something, whatever.
phrasing.
Timbre.
Yeah, phrasing. Timbre, candor,
Candor.
moosh
Winsome.
boosh.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but it was awesome, and I would recommend it to anybody. And I'm excited for the Lord of the Rings show to come out. I'm trying to read the trilogy in time to catch the Rings of Power show in September.
Have you watched the trailer?
Yeah.
I was really bored by the trailer.
Is it?
I don't know why. Let me tell you
What time
this.
is it?
I watched the Star Wars sequels this past week.
Like 4, 5, and 6?
Sequels, so
7, 8,
8, 9. So bad.
Wah, wah,
They just get worse with every pass.
wah, wah.
Just some of the worst movies in general.
That's pretty wild that they've been going on for so long. There's 9, and then there's 2 spin-offs movies. That's 11 movies to a world. Is that more than anything else? Because Harry Potter's got 8.
I'm trying to think. Star Trek, maybe?
Well, Star Trek has, yeah, maybe, but they have so many shows.
Yeah. So I don't know, but
how many shows does Star Trek have, Ross?
Are you guys done yet?
Like how many seasons did Star Trek have, Ross?
it's just kind of funny that Star Wars has twice as many bad movies as good movies, probably.
And it's still like a really beloved.
Yeah. Like the only
World.
good Star Wars movies are 4, 5, and 6. So
Yes.
they're original trilogy.
Not 3? You don't think 3 was good?
I mean, there's just so much bad
Like,
about it. If you're really just taking a step back,
And just watching a movie?
yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
And I mean, I like Rogue One and Solo.
Yeah.
I love The Mandalorian. So I mean, they are still putting out good content. It's just they need to figure something out to be such a
They got to get Jerry Bruckheimer, who did the Pirates of the Caribbean,
wow.
to do the Star Wars.
That's a genius.
That's all I'm saying.
Pirates of the Caribbean has a lot of movies.
Oh,
and they're-
unfortunately.
Every single one of them's bad except for the first one.
Dude, Dead Man's Chest? Come on.
Star Wars, if you're listening.
Smash like.
George Lucas, if you're listening.
Luke, if you're listening.
Wait, we just
I'm
have
your
one
father.
more minute. We can. No, never mind. Who cares?
Okay.
We love you guys.
We love you.
Love you.
Bye.
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 Gotta go. Bye.